Today I'm reviewing this Hourglass Immaculate Liquid Powder Foundation in my Best Foundation for Oily Skin series. Hey guys, this is Sneha here at Beautylashes19, and on my beauty channel you're going to find product reviews and also tips and tricks and celebrity makeup. So if that's the kind of videos you like, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But today I'm going to review yet another foundation in my Best Foundation for Oily Skin series, and today we are reviewing this Hourglass Immaculate Liquid Powder Foundation. Now they call this foundation the Miracle Foundation for Oily Skin. So we'll see how true that is because I have super oily skin. Now this foundation is really special to me because I used this foundation on my wedding day. And yes, I did do my own makeup. There was no glitter or fake lashes or anything. I didn't know much about makeup back then. But I'm going to insert a picture right here, and I think I did a pretty decent job. Thinking of how less I knew back then, it held up pretty well throughout the day, and I did get oily because I was in Mumbai, so it was hot and humid. But it did last for the hot and humid conditions that I put it through. So let's get started. So I have it in the shade Beige, and I was matched to the shade in the Sephora store. Now this shade is meant for medium beige with neutral undertones. If you do decide to get this foundation, make sure you go into a store and really swatch it and let it dry on your skin, because the foundation does tend to get darker once it sets to the powder finish. So beige, as you'll see, I'll swatch it initially, and then later after it's dried up I'm going to show you, and you can see the difference in the shade. Now as always, I've already gone ahead and washed my face and moisturized it with my Ombre Release Lait Cream Concentrate. I'm ready to prime my face. I'm going to use my Skindinavia primer spray all over my face. And while that's drying, let me talk to you about the foundation. So this foundation retails for £50 here in the UK and $56 in the US. And it comes with the traditional 30ml or 1 fluid ounce amount. The foundation comes in 22 shades both in the US and in the UK, and the shade descriptions are included in the description and features of the foundation section, so you do need to look under that. But if you scroll through the shades, they do not show up the undertones of the foundation. However, there are only like 6 shades out of the 22 that are deeper than my skin tone. And if you're really talking about the deeper skin tones, there's only like 1 or 2 shades. So this foundation is definitely catering more towards the light and medium skin tone range. Now packaging is this metal bottle with this plastic cap with a metal finish, which I quite like. So very travel friendly, you don't have to worry about it breaking. And it does come with a pump. And the pump is quite flexible, so you can control how much of the product comes out at a time. The con of this container or this tube is that you can't really see how much product you've used up. So I wish they had something similar to the Urban Decay one where you have a window to see how much of the foundation you've used up. This is the older packaging, but these days it comes out in, again, a plastic tube like the L'Oreal Pro Matte foundation. So again, it's very travel friendly. The formula is quite thick and has a moussey texture almost, and it's paraben free, oil free, palette free, gluten free, fragrance free, and cruelty free. This foundation is recommended to apply with their number 2 brush or also their kabuki style brushes. So I don't have those exact brushes, but I do have the Zoeva brush number 110, which I really like. It's quite similar, just that this one is just a smaller size, and I really like to work in smaller sections because this foundation does tend to dry to the powder finish. So I really like this brush for this foundation, and I'm going to use this for the demo today. They do not recommend using a beauty blender just because it transforms to the powder finish. So I'm not going to do my 1/2 with the beauty blender sponge today. What I am going to do is use the primer that they recommend. So this is the Mineral Whale primer, I believe, by Hourglass. So on 1/2 of my face, I'm going to apply this primer as well, and then apply the foundation. So I think I'm going to apply the primer and the foundation to my right side and just the foundation on my left side to see if the primer makes any difference. So I'm going to use the same brush for applying the primer. So as you can see, the primer does leave that white cast on the skin compared to the side which does not have any primer. So we'll see if this shows through under the foundation and also how it performs in flash photography. So while this is drying or setting into my skin, I'm going to apply the foundation to the left side. Okay, so I'm going to take one pump of the foundation. So as you can see, the formula is quite thick, not at all runny. This foundation does dry out quite quickly, so you have to kind of work faster than regular liquid foundations. So the foundation is already dried up quite a bit. I'm going to dab the rest of it and see if it can build up on my acne scarring. We'll try it with a brush first. So this is what the whole pump looks like. I used up the full one pump. Gives this soft velvet matte finish as it says for the foundation. I think it's given me quite a medium to full coverage, especially when I built up on my acne scarring. So that's plus from me. So now I'm just going to take another pump of foundation and apply it to the side we have the primer on. And yes, I know that it looks quite powdery, but once you have the rest of the makeup on and the setting spray on, then the foundation kind of doesn't look as powdery as it does right now. So this is the shade the foundation comes out initially, but once it dries out, it's a slightly deeper shade. So do you see, once I have the foundation on for some time, it does dry to a darker color. Application wise, I don't see any difference between the primed and the unprimed side. So I did use 2 full pumps for my entire face. Now this is the side without any primer. It's dried down to quite a powdery finish, whereas this one hasn't set yet, but for some reason I think this side looks slightly more natural than this side. It could be just because it's not dried up yet, so I'm going to give it a couple of minutes and I'm going to be right back. So it has had a couple of minutes to dry down and both sides look powdery, but I still think the primer side looks slightly better off than this one. This one just looks slightly more powdery, if that makes sense. I hope it translates onto camera as well. So I'm just going to quickly do a basic makeup look, then I'm going to come back and we're going to look over the claims of this foundation. So this is what my face looks like after I've added some blush, contour products, some concealer, and I also put some of the Laura Mercier translucent powder just to set the concealer, although my face is still quite matte and powdery from the foundation. What I did, however, notice is that when I went in with my Kevyn Aucoin concealer, the concealer, although it did stick to my scarring, it was also kind of rolling off. So I have some on my hand. I don't know if you can see that. Do you see those little rolls, crumbly pieces? I think that's the concealer picking up on the powder in those areas wherever I apply it, and then that tends to roll up. So that's something just to consider in case you have a concealer. It may not be compatible with this foundation. So I just wanted to put it out there in case it may be relevant to you. This is what the foundation looks like. The foundation hasn't clung to any dry patches, nor has it settled into my smile lines. It does look ashy here because of course I have not color corrected. We are now ready to set our face with the Skindinavia setting spray. So while this is drying, let's look at the claims of this foundation. So it's an oil-free, non-comedogenic formula that won't cause blemishes or clog pores. That's excellent for somebody with oily skin or people with acne-prone skin. It's a lightweight formula that transforms instantly from a liquid to a powder to a long-wearing velvet matte finish. And we saw that during application. It just went to a nice powdery finish. But now that I've set it with the setting spray, it's getting to that matte finish, but without having too much of the powder on the surface. It's formulated with cashmere kaolinite clay. I've never heard that name before, but apparently this clay controls the oil that can lead to the blemishes. It draws out impurities to keep the skin clear, and it can absorb 75% of its weight in oil without drying the skin out. Excellent. If it can control my oil, this is my holy grail foundation. It's safe for sensitive blemish prone skin. That's great. And it's newly repackaged and lightweight, travel friendly too, which we discussed in the intro section. They also mention it's vegan. I didn't know that. But looking at the skin closer, it's still a very matte finish. I wouldn't say this foundation looks natural. You can definitely tell that the person has foundation on, but it's not very heavy feeling on the skin, if that makes sense. And for people with really oily skin like myself, I think the number one problem for most foundation is that it does not control oil. So let's see how well this holds up throughout the day. So yeah, it's about 12:30 p.m. in the afternoon here. It's a gloomy, cold day in UK, so I'll come back for my first check-in maybe in about 3 to 4 hours. Now, as far as weather is concerned, the highest today is only 57 degrees Fahrenheit or 14 degrees Celsius, so it's kind of a cold day. So I'm just going to insert the picture with flash, and it just looks so horrible. So the only area that looks normal or like human is like this portion of my neck and my eye area where I didn't have the foundation. So otherwise I look like a Casper ghost or something. So I definitely would not recommend this foundation if you're going out in the night for clubbing or partying or whatever and you think there might be pictures with flash. Don't wear this foundation. Hey guys, so it's about 5 p.m. here, so it's been about 4.5 hours since I've had the foundation. And look at my face! It does not look like a greasy mess. Yes, my nose is a little shiny, but that's about it. Look at my cheeks, they are completely matte. It's like I freshly applied a foundation. And of all the foundations I've tested so far, none have been so matte. So this foundation definitely gets a thumbs up for that, but it hasn't 100% controlled my oil production. So I'm just going to let the oils be at this stage and come back at the end of the day to see if there's a difference between the two sides. But so far so good. So this is almost 8 hours since I've had the foundation on without any blotting. So you can see my eyes where I don't have any foundation or any product on is quite oily, and so is my nose area. But otherwise, my cheeks are still matte. Do you guys see that? So usually with other foundations, my forehead is super oily. This has spread further here, and my chin is also super oily. But so far, this foundation has held up really well. There is no cracking or separation or transfer from my face. I also went out for a 20-minute walk, and granted it's not very hot outside, but still I think so far of all the foundations I've tested, this is by far the best at controlling oil production. Now if I were to look closely, I can see when I make funny faces that some of the foundation has kind of collected right behind my nostril, and there is some settling into smile lines, but nothing major. So I'm just going to use a blotting sheet and take off this oil and see if the foundation is still back to its original state in this particular area. Also, when I compare the side which got the primer, this side versus the side that didn't get any primer, I don't really see any difference. Do you guys see anything that I'm missing out on? I think my nose is equally oily on both sides. As far as I'm concerned, I think I'm going to skip on the primer and just stick with the foundation because it does the job pretty well on its own. So today I'm just going to use my Primark mattifying blotting paper. So this is how thin it is. I'm going to start with my forehead. There's quite a bit of oil there. So the sheet is full, and these are relatively thin compared to regular blotting sheets. So as you can see, my face is back to its original matte state. So on closer inspection, I really don't think the foundation has come off anywhere. So overall, I think I would rate this foundation 9.75. I think the highest so far has been 9.5 for the Maybelline Fit Me foundation, which is a drugstore one, so it's excellent for the price. But I think this one performed just a bit better at controlling my oil throughout the day, even at 8 hours post-wear time. That was Cooper, by the way. He's hungry, so I just need to go and quickly feed him. But yeah, I'm overall very happy with this foundation, and this is the best so far. So if you enjoyed this review video, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up or like button. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me.